Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good everything, everybody. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here to our program tonight. We're coming on very late this evening. I had a lot of things I wanted to talk to you about, and then I decided I'd have to stretch things out, and I didn't want to do that either. I wanted to get specific information to you, and I had to eliminate some of what I was going to talk to you about. But I'm going to talk to you about some very important issues before us tonight. One of the first issues, we talked about this about 3 or 4 days ago. That was a possible financial market collapse that was supposed to happen today or tomorrow. It may not happen. It may not happen. Folks, I want to tell you this right now. Even the financial analysts that I spoke to that said that they knew what was going on, they don't know what's going on all the time. They can predict it, they can analyze the data, but they don't know any more than any of us, I have a feeling. That's just my feeling about it. The financial news says that very little has changed after the averages, major averages came through today. Stocks rebounded today at the start of the week. The Black Friday prediction by the financial analysts, like I said, did not happen. The U.S. Treasury is going to borrow $776 billion. The U.S. Treasury Department is going to borrow another $776 billion in the final 3 months of this year. It's going to put us very deeply in debt. Folks, we could have a Black Friday. It might not be today or tomorrow, but it could be very soon. The United States cannot continue borrow money like it has. It just can't happen. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at $1.58 above what it closed at Friday. The NASDAQ was up $1.16. The S&P 500 was up 1.2. Gold was down 0.04 cents. Oil was up 44 cents. This is decent averages. Okay? This is typically averaging. The past week or so, the market has been very down. And like I said, all the analysts said that it was going to crash, and it may very well crash within the next few days or even weeks. But it is not crashing today. It did not crash. Now, I want to first talk to you about some earthquakes that happened today. Then I'm going to get into everything else that's been going on. I want to talk more about earthquakes down in the Caribbean Sea. I want to talk about earthquakes all around the world. That's where we're going with this tonight. The first thing I want to talk about, folks, are these earthquakes. Okay? Today, right here in the Dominican Republic. Okay? Not even the Dominican Republic. This happened today. They said there was a 5.5 earthquake in the Dominican Republic. I can't find it. I cannot find it. However, there was a very substantial earthquake that happened over in New Hope Harbor, New Hope, Jamaica. Okay? Over here in Jamaica, where that star is. There's a 5.5 earthquake here today. I cannot find this other 5.5 that supposedly happened in the Dominican Republic today. I don't believe it did happen. But we did have a 5.5 here in Jamaica today. Now, folks, that's a big deal. That is, well, actually, that's not the slide I wanted. Neither is that. Let's just go back to this. USGS downgraded this to a 5.4. I believe this was much larger than that. Okay? I'm going to have more information probably around midnight tonight, and I may go forward on it just after midnight. But right now I'm telling you, the earthquake came out as a 5.5. USGS downgraded it to a 5.4. Now, there are some felt reports. There are some felt reports here. Let's take a look at that, okay? These are the felt reports that were called in, or not called in, but written in to the EMSC, the European agency. This one in Kingston, Jamaica. This one really rocked the place. Okay? Over in St. Anne, Jamaica, 73 kilometers from the epicenter. Said it was mild where that person was at. This one at Kingston, it really rocked. This was 33 kilometers from the epicenter. Very close. Very close. This one here says I was ironing and I felt a tremor. Things were rattling on the entertainment center. Okay? This was 130 kilometers away from the epicenter. So it's wide variety. If you were right near the epicenter, it rocked. It rocked. Now, I want to show you something. Okay? This is very telling about what happens. Okay? I want to show you something. This is what happened in February this year. This was over in the Dominican Republic. This was a 5.0 earthquake in the Dominican Republic. Look at the damage here. We did not have any damage reports as of yet from the Jamaica earthquake. This was in the Dominican Republic in February. Okay? This is what can happen when there's a 5.0 large earthquake. Yet USGS is calling 4.0s to 4.9s light earthquakes. What a bunch of crap. 5.0s, just up one minor link from a 4. This is a 5.0. This is the kind of damage that these earthquakes can do. So don't let the USGS fool you. The 4.0s are moderate quakes with moderate damage. The 4.0 end is just the beginning of the 4.0 range. It's going to be less damage. Okay? But the larger it gets, the more intense the shaking is. The more intense the shaking is, the more damage you're going to have. That's what I wanted to point out. And I will be back here in just a few minutes talking more about this earthquake that happened in Jamaica today, over in the Caribbean. Okay? I'm going to point out exactly what happened there today. One of the first things I want to do is talk about the snow in the Midwest. The Midwest, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, down into Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma, well, all of Oklahoma for that matter, going over into Colorado. This is what they had. This is Denver, Colorado. Okay? This was Denver, Colorado this weekend. Look at the snow and the low visibility conditions. Okay? This is what they call C470 and 285. Okay? This is down just south of Denver itself. South of Denver City. Okay? It's on the highway. Now, there are basically 4 highway systems going through Denver. 285 runs pretty much north and south, as well as I-25. 285, I used to live there. 285 and I-25 basically run north and south. I-70 runs east and west just north of Denver. Just north of Denver City. In fact, it goes right on the north, literally the northern part of the city of Denver itself. I-70. It's a major east-west thoroughfare from Utah, from central Utah all the way east. I believe it even goes to the east coast. I-70. C-470 runs east and west on the west side of the Denver metro area. C-470. Then it curves. It curves south and then heads east. Okay? I lived over on the western side of C-470 in Littleton, Colorado. Okay? So this area right here, this picture right here, basically shows you an area about 6 or 7 miles from where I lived. Okay? This is pretty heavy snow. Pretty heavy snow. Maybe quarter-mile visibility. Okay? This is what's going through the Midwest now. Okay? Now, for those people that live here near where I live, okay, you guys are going to get hit with some very changing temperatures. Okay? Let me show you a slide that I took earlier this afternoon. This will kind of give you an idea of the temperature ratios that we are going to face in the coming hours, literally. I thought I had it here. Hold on, I can get it here. I honestly thought I'd pulled all the pictures here. I thought I pulled all the pictures here that I wanted to show you. I'll get it here for you. I want to show you this. I think this is pretty important. Golly, as Gomer Pyle would say, well, golly, Shazam, Sergeant Carter, Sergeant Carter. I don't know where it went. I don't know where it went. Let me see if I can pull it up anyway here. I think I can do this anyway. I'll be darned. I was very sure that I had all these pictures all set up for you tonight, and apparently I don't, which is really weird of me because I am a stickler to be able to show you what I need to show you, and I honestly believed that everything was set up here. Oh, gee whiz. That's just weird. Anyway, I was going to show you this. I don't know where it went. But what is going to happen here where I live? We had a high temperature today at 12 noon. That temperature is going to nosedive from now until tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow's high temperature is not going to get any higher than 54 degrees. The low tomorrow night is going to be 39. The low Wednesday night is actually Tuesday night is going to be 39. Wednesday it's going to be 29, and a hard freeze warning will be in effect. We don't expect to have any rain within the next couple days. But after that, we may get some precipitation. And if it stays this cold, we could have some snow. We could have some snow. So I'm advising everybody, at least here from the Midwest to the East Coast, you need to get your weather set. You need to be able to be prepared for all kinds of weather, including rain and snow. It's coming. It is definitely coming. I was totally surprised when I saw the weather report for today and the rest of the week. Well, I do have it. Well, I'll be darned, I do have it. It's right here. Okay, look at this, guys. Look at this. Today we had a high temperature at 12 noon of 81 degrees. It was not 81 at 6 p.m. today. It was not. Nowhere even close. Okay? As you can see, it's taking a real dip. Right now, it might be 70 degrees or less. Right now, it might be 70 degrees or less, and then it's going to take a dip and it's going to stay down. As you can see, tomorrow at noon, it's going to be 51 degrees. It'll be 51 at 1 p.m., 51 at 2 p.m. It's not going to get any higher tomorrow at all. Literally. The high temperature for tomorrow is going to be 59 degrees. 59 degrees at 1 a.m. in the morning. Okay? That's what's going to happen. Okay? So this is what people can look forward to here on the East Coast. Okay? It was good and hot today. Nobody was wearing any sweaters. Everybody was in short sleeves. You saw a lot of people in short pants today. That will all change tomorrow. It's all going to change tomorrow. We're getting snow up in Manitoba, Canada. We're getting snow all down through the central United States. We're getting snow and colder weather, rain coming here towards the East Coast tonight. Everybody needs to batten down the hatches. It's going to start getting very cold. The leaves are all falling. These are the leaves in northern Utah, in the mountains. Okay, this is taken from a drone from a friend of mine's drone camera. Beautiful leaves all over the place. That's also going to change, probably starting tomorrow as well. Okay, all over. Okay, we have a lot of leaves where we live here today. I showed you the leaves that we had last Friday. It was absolutely gorgeous. Actually, I showed them yesterday as well. It was very gorgeous here. Leaves up and down the highways, all the roadways. The roadways and highways here in this area and going upwards into Virginia as well. The roadways are side to side of the roadway are nothing but trees. And all the colors you can imagine are out on the trees right now. It's absolutely gorgeous. But things are going to change, okay? Dee Dee says high in the 30s here today in Indiana. Leaves almost all down. Will be in the 20s the next couple of nights. That is what we're expecting. That's exactly what we were talking about. Thank you, Dee. Appreciate it. Catherine Sigerson said, one of my daughters is in Ontario expecting snow also. Not surprising. Everybody needs to think about switching out their fall gear into full winter gear. Winter is moving in as we speak. Okay? Kimberly Hopkins is in Northern California. We're sitting at 73 there in Northern California. That's great. That's great. We thought we were lucky here. The bottom's going to drop out starting tonight. So folks, all I'm saying is get ready. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Anyway, let's go look at the USGS map really quick. I want to talk about the earthquakes around the world. Then I'm going to talk about some things that have been happening here in the United States and also around the world. Okay? Again, The big story today is the earthquake in Jamaica. Earthquake in Jamaica. It's the biggest thing today at all. Okay? A big 5.5 earthquake. I'm not going to call it a 5.4. I do not believe it was a 5.4. This was at least a 5.5 here in Hope Bay, Jamaica. This could have been worse. This could have been much worse. Okay? It was right there on land. When we get these earthquakes on land, there's going to be some kind of damage. There will be some kind of damage. Like I said, I talked about those felt reports and showed them to you. That's very typically what we saw from the EMSC. The USGS reported 109 felt reports. They reported 109 people feeling this earthquake. So, let's think about it. 20 and 129 or 109, that's 129 people who felt the quake. USGS does not publish the findings of the felt reports, however. Okay? Now, in the early USGS report, it said there was a 5.5 over here in the northern side of the Dominican Republic. Now, I did show you some other earthquakes that happened here. There's some 4s and then there's some 3s here in the Dominican Republic, and I believe some 3s over here in Haiti as well. We're going to be talking about this kind of seismic events here in the Caribbean. We're also going to talk about these earthquakes over here in Central America. This earthquake here is a 4.1. It's just off the coast of Costa Rica, 12 miles south-southeast of Aveyah, Costa Rica. It's a 4.1, a moderate 4.1, 16 miles deep. It's not the only earthquake that hit here. I want to emphasize it was not the only earthquake to hit here. There was also another earthquake, okay? This one hit over here near Panama, okay? Over off the northeast coast of Panama, okay? It's unfortunate, however, that the USGS is not reporting it now, because I took the screenshot of this slide earlier, okay? Unfortunately, USGS took it down, which is pretty much the case every time they turn around. I don't ever believe, I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever see the day when the USGS is going to report an earthquake of any kind and be completely upfront about it. I just don't think it's going to happen. But this is a moderate 4.7 earthquake over here on the north side of Panama. We've had earthquakes here before. We had a series of earthquakes here earlier this year. A 5.4, 5.5, 5.6, and 5.7 in the same area. This does not surprise me. A 4.7 does not surprise me. Look at all the other earthquakes that are around here. Okay? These red earthquakes were here this morning. Red constitutes new earthquakes here this morning. And like I showed you just a few minutes ago, USGS is not showing any, which is a fallacy. Okay? They're dreaming. They want people to believe that nothing happens. But these red earthquakes were current this morning. You can see earthquakes over here in Puerto Rico and north of Puerto Rico as well, going up here to the upper parts by the Cayman Ridge. north of Puerto Rico at the Cayman Ridge. You can see plenty of earthquakes there. We're going to be talking about this in just a few minutes. But I want to show you that, because this is very typical of what we find. It's very typical of what we find. But again, they're not showing anything here in southern Mexico, nothing in Central America as well. That is stupid. Stupidity on the part of the USGS. Going over here into Colombia, this is a 4.5 earthquake here. Northern Colombia. This is 100 miles deep. 100 miles deep. The earthquake in Puerto Rico was 6.2, 10 kilometers deep. Again, I don't trust that. There have been too many 10-kilometer deep earthquakes. Too many. And it's continuing. I believe they're lying to us, lying through their teeth. One of the other big earthquakes today is in the South Sandwich Islands down here in the South Atlantic Ocean. This is a 5.1 earthquake here. 5.1 earthquake. And as you know, I've explained these earthquakes before here in the South Sandwich Islands. I believe this seismic energy will climb out of the South Pacific, not South Pacific, South Atlantic, and it will be climbing up here along the mid-Atlantic ridge here within the next day or so. It's going to climb all the way up here to Iceland. Iceland here. Okay? The mid-Atlantic ridge cuts through Iceland here, and it goes north. It goes plenty north. Okay? Up here. This is near Svalbard. This is also a 4.5 moderate earthquake up here in the mid-Atlantic, the North Mid-Atlantic. Okay? A 4.5. This is 185 miles southwest of Longyearbyen, Svalbard and Jan Mayen Islands, okay? Way out here in the North Atlantic. I want to show you that, okay? We have earthquakes that go way up north, and that's just one of them that has been happening as of late. As you can see, there's very little here in Africa or Europe. This one over here in Morocco here, this is a moderate 4.3 earthquake. A moderate 4.3 earthquake. Okay? It's also rated at 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. What a crock. Okay? It's a crock. In Spain, it doesn't show any earthquakes. We know for a fact there's earthquakes here in Spain. There's also earthquakes over here in this area right here, just east of the Strait of Gibraltar. There always is and always will be, because we have an earthquake fault right here. We have an earthquake fault right here. I believe we have 4 earthquakes here today. Okay? That's what happens. Now I'm going to back this out. This is the Western Mediterranean. Okay? Let's go back over here. Sicily has several earthquakes here in Sicily. Italy has its share of earthquakes as well. I believe Italy's got like 20 earthquakes here. Most of those earthquakes are here in central Italy today. Okay? Over here, up north, northern Italy has a few earthquakes here, especially in the Italian Alps, the French Alps here. France has some earthquakes. Germany and Switzerland also have some earthquakes here in the Alps today. It almost always has. Okay? Almost always. Okay? We get over into the Czech Republic, we have a couple earthquakes over here. We go over here where this S curve is here. Okay? This is the edge of the craton here, where you see this great big huge S. Okay? Backwards S. This is Romania. Romania. Romania's been having earthquakes here as well. We have a couple here today as well. Greece. Greece has about 30 earthquakes here in Greece. USGS is not showing any of those. None. We have a couple earthquakes down here around Crete on the western side of Turkey. These islands here on the western side of Turkey belong to Greece. They're called the Dokanese Islands. The Dokanese Islands. There's several earthquakes here as well. Turkey here. They have their share of earthquakes here as well, especially right here. This is the area where we had earlier this year a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here in the Turkey-Syrian border area. Thousands of people have been killed. Over 5,000 people have been killed. Over 3,000 people have been injured as a result of that quake. They are still getting supplies from the United States. They're still getting supplies from the Catholic Diocese. They're getting supplies from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and other organizations from around the world, including the Red Cross. The Red Cross is assisting handing out those supplies. Okay? That's what's going on there. And you already know what's going on in Israel. We're going to talk a little bit about Israel and what's going on in Turkey and this whole area of Lebanon, Egypt, everything. Okay? Today, Netanyahu said they're not going to accept any ceasefire at all. They're not even talking about a ceasefire. Last Friday, the United Nations Security Council met in an emergency session trying to come up with a ceasefire. The Security Council could not even get 7 states, 7 member countries, to even offer a solution to the Israeli-Gaza war. Could not even come up with a ceasefire. Netanyahu is saying right now they're not even going to accept the talk of a ceasefire. They want the shelling from Hamas and Hezbollah to stop. It has escalated. Iran proxies have also fired shots at U.S. troops in Syria, in Lebanon, also over in Turkey, and over on at our ships and at Israel as well. Iranian proxies, Hamas, and other terrorist organizations have been firing at U.S. troops and at Israel. And that's why Netanyahu said they would not accept any kind of ceasefire, because Hamas and Hezbollah continue firing at Israel. And Israel's already said at a press conference earlier last week, they're going to stop the harassment. They're going to stop the missiles from coming in for good. They're going down into the Gaza Strip. They're going down into Lebanon. They're going to march over to Egypt, I believe. They're going to knock out the tyrants once and for all. And the United States is going to help them. There's a 3rd aircraft carrier task force en route to the Middle East right now. A 3rd. The Eisenhower is on station. The USS Gerald R. Ford is on station. All their support ships constitute about 26 ships, and the new incoming aircraft carrier task force will have another 12 to 18 ships. So it'll be quite a convergence of military force. With that said, China is coming in with another 8 ships. Russia has been pulling out its ships from the Black Sea, and they're probably going to be headed over here as well. Iran is a member state with Russia. Iranian proxies met with Chinese and Russian intermediaries in Moscow, Russia this past weekend. They've also got pledged support from Russia. So Russia is going to support them. If the shelling continues, which we believe it will, the United States will come up in kind and eliminate the threat. And in doing so, that's going to cause the threat base to continue, and that will bring in Russia and China. This could be a very, very bad war here. With that said, what is going on in Ukraine? the Belarus president, we talked about him several months back. He has asked Putin to back off and declare a ceasefire at Ukraine. Ukrainian troops have actually been winning from what I'm hearing. I've done a lot of research on this. Okay? For a while, we were hearing that Russia was massacring Ukraine. Now it's just the opposite. And now Russian boats are en route to the Middle East. Okay? I believe they're en route to the Middle East. They're pulling out of the Black Sea. If Ukraine stops, it could be a good thing. It could be a good thing. However, we also have China trying to move into Taiwan. Now, I don't think that China has the ability to take on Taiwan just right now. Yes, they've been having a bunch of overflights of their military harassing Taiwan. We have one aircraft carrier task force there, as well as other countries helping provide air support and naval support to Taiwan. That could happen. That could be World War III there. I don't think the United States is capable of fighting a World War III on two fronts, Taiwan and the Middle East. They've already said that we don't have the ammunition. We don't have the ammunition to fight World War III because Biden cut back on the military and the money to the military. That could change. That could change. But right now we don't have the ammunition. If we got involved in World War III in the Middle East and or Taiwan, it would be bad. It would be very bad. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm just trying to point out everything that's going on. Okay? Just trying to tell you like it is. Carr said it snowed in North Dakota. That doesn't surprise me. Fargo got nailed the other day from what I hear. I used to live in Fargo. I have friends in Fargo. It's amazing. Yes, I have a love for North Dakota, but I don't like the below zero temperatures, 20, 30, 40 below temperatures, and heavy snow. We got snowed in so often there it wasn't funny. 4-foot snow drifts in our front yard. Incredible. I skied off the roof of my parents' house. 5 blocks to my high school. I skied from my house to the high school, 5 blocks away. I took a bike chain and chained my skis, my cross-country skis, to a light pole at the high school. That was back in the day. It's crazy. Anyway, guys, that's what's going on. Richard Smith says a 1.8 tremor just hit the coast of Syria. It doesn't surprise me. Any of these earthquakes hitting the Turkey-Syrian area are aftershocks of the 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here earlier this year. These earthquakes are going to continue to go. I believe there's probably been 4 earthquakes here. 40 aftershocks here in this region alone. That is what happens when you get that large of an earthquake. And like we pointed out all the data when this earthquake hit. I pointed out all the data that points to that being a much larger earthquake than USGS or any other agency said it was. They lie through their teeth. Okay? They lie through their teeth. Earthquakes over here in Iraq as well. Earthquakes in Iraq. Earthquakes over here. Okay? They're not talking any earthquakes over here in Tajikistan or Afghanistan today. I know there are. Okay? Over here. This is a 4.2 here in China. AQQAN China. A 4.2 moderate earthquake. Again, 6.2 kilometers deep. Bullcrap. Okay? This is also 4.1. 114 114 miles southwest of Korla, China. Okay? We don't usually get information out of China or Russia, but that's what happens here. Occasionally it filters out. Okay? I believe this is out in the desert area of China, for that matter. Okay? Huge, arid, cold desert out there. Okay? Over here in Indonesia, this is a fallacy. Okay? There's about 15 or 20 earthquakes here in Indonesia today. USGS showing 3. What a crap. Okay? Over here in Java, Eastern Java, this is a 4.5 earthquake here. Again, this is 65 miles deep. 65 miles deep. Further over here, we have another 4.7 moderate quake. This is 113 miles deep. Further north here, this is over near Ambon, Ambon, Indonesia. This is a 4.4 earthquake 18 miles away from Ambon, Indonesia. We go north here into the Philippines. This is a 4.4 near Sarangani, Philippines. 41 miles south-southeast of Sarangani, Philippines. This is 108 miles deep. 108 miles deep. Going north here, central Philippines, this is Leyte, Leyte, Philippines. A 4.6 earthquake. This is 7.3 miles deep. Notice where these earthquakes are located. They're on the edge of the craton. The edge of the craton. Each of these islands here were caused by volcanoes. If you know anything about tectonic plate activity, earthquakes, earthquake zones, earthquake regions here, you can't have volcanoes without subduction. You cannot have volcanoes without subduction. This area is full of volcanoes. There are 7 different plates here. 7 different tectonic plates, one subducting under the other down here in this area. I had someone email me a message a couple years ago asking me why they had so many earthquakes in Indonesia. I have friends of mine who have family in Indonesia. They were wondering why they were getting so many earthquakes there. The simple reason is there's 7 different plates, one subducting under the other here. And the USGS is not giving any real example of what's going on here. They used to, but they backed out of it. They backed out of it. They don't know what they're doing here, unfortunately. They really don't. And they're doing a disservice to the people here. There are American citizens down here. There are people from all over the world down here in Indonesia and also the Philippines. Okay? For the USGS to be neglecting this it's a felony. It's a felony. It's a major crime that they're not reporting earthquakes here. Going north here, the Mariana Trench. Okay? This is the Volcano Islands. This is a large 5.0 earthquake down here in the Volcano Islands. This is 75.8 miles deep, 76 miles deep. Going north here, I believe this is in the Bonin Islands, B-O-N-I-N Islands, southeast of Japan here. 185 miles southeast of Katsura. Oh, man, one of these days I'm going to take a course in Japanese, if I get time. Katsura, Japan. Capital K-A-T-S-U-U-R-A, Japan. Okay? Off the coast of Japan. I believe it's called the Bonin Islands of Japan. Okay? Down here. Again, this is not a very good representation of earthquakes here either. down here in Vanuatu. Vanuatu got hit yesterday by a 6.5 earthquake. There are other aftershocks here that they're not reporting either. A 6.5 earthquake near Sula, Vanuatu yesterday. The energy hit, the epicenter was in the middle of the ocean. Nobody felt the quake. If anything, they just felt rumbles beneath their feet. Okay? That happened yesterday. Going over here, down here, just north of New Zealand. Okay? We got a 4.5 earthquake down here in the Kermadec Islands. The Kermadec Islands are not occupied by anything else than birds. It's a bird sanctuary. No humans live here. They can't get in here except at high tide. If they wait till low tide to leave or try to go there, their boats are going to get dashed on the rocks just beneath the surface and are going to be destroyed. So nobody lives in the Kermadec Islands. Again, a 4.5 moderate earthquake here today. This is 145 miles deep. Okay? This one here, also in the Kermadec Island region, this is also 4.5 here. This is very different though. This is 240 miles deep. This is a pretty deep earthquake. A 4.5 earthquake is going to propagate a 5.3, 5.4 earthquake. A 5.3, 5.4 larger earthquake. Deep earthquakes beget larger, shallower earthquakes. Okay? So that's what's going to happen. We're going to get a 5.3 in here probably within the next 72 hours to 10 days because of that earthquake here. Down here in New Zealand, again, they're only showing one earthquake here. Why? Heaven knows why. There are about 15 earthquakes down here in New Zealand. Okay? This one happens to be right on an earthquake fault. It happens to be on the edge of the southern island, the edge of the South Island here. A 3.8 earthquake here today. A 3.8 small earthquake down here, and this is in the Cook Strait. This area body of water between the North and South Islands of New Zealand is called the Cook Strait. This is over here at the entrance to the Cook Strait. That's also right on the earthquake fault here. See that red line here? And you can see the actual fault itself. This earthquake is right on top of that fault. This fault, let me enlarge this slide so you can see it. This fault comes out of Tonga here. It goes all the way up into Tonga. So the energy here from the earthquakes that we've been having here in Tonga has spread south here to New Zealand. And there's a bunch of earthquakes, probably 8 earthquakes over here on the North Island today, and 3 earthquakes down here on the South Island here. Okay, just for those of you that might not be old hats to this channel, we have a huge volcano here. Okay, this is super volcano on the North Island here in New Zealand. This is Taupo volcano, T-A-U-P-O volcano, Taupo volcano. It's been having a lot of seismic activity as of late. There's going to be a lot more. This volcano is rocking. Some scientists believe that we may be seeing the beginnings of a possible eruption at this supervolcano. So far, it has not erupted. It has shaken all over the place. We've had 4.0s, 4.5 earthquakes here, all kinds of tremors and minor earthquakes. So far, that's what it is. But a supervolcano over here in New Zealand. Okay? Just so you know. There are all kinds of supervolcanoes around the world. Quite a few of them anyway. All right. Let's go north. Let's go in Hawaii. I want to show you this. We go over to Mauna Loa. We have 2 earthquakes over here at Mauna Loa. One up here at the rim of Mauna Loa here. This is a 1.7 tremor. USGS, I don't get it. USGS says this is at Pahala. This is not. This is at the rim of Mauna Loa. Mauna Loa is a volcano. So it can be a very deadly volcano, but as of late, that also has not happened. It has erupted this year. It was just a very minor eruption this year. But that wasn't the only earthquake. There's another one right here, right down the center of the summit of the volcano. This is a 2.7 minor earthquake here. A 2.7 down here inside this volcano. This is 24 miles deep. This earthquake is 24 miles deep down inside the volcano. This earthquake up here at the rim, okay, a 1.7 tremor, this is 24 miles deep as well. This is not at Pahala. USGS says, oh, it's only 16 miles north-northwest of Pahala. No, it's not. It's at Mauna Loa. It's at Mauna Loa. These earthquakes down here are at Pahala. This is Pahala. We just barely got through having 2 brand new earthquakes here. This is a 1.9, 2.0. This is a 1.8 magnitude tremor. Right next to it is a 2.3 earthquake. We have tremors and earthquakes all over this area. Now, for the new people, way down south in the Pacific, way down south here in the Pacific, there is a huge magma plume coming out of the center of the earth. A huge magma plume coming out of the center of the earth, and it's filling magma channels inside the crust of the earth that we walk on. I'll talk about the crust in a few minutes. Those magma channels coming from over there in the South Pacific down here, those magma channels are feeding volcanoes around the world, including here in Hawaii, here at Pahala. Pahala is like a gas station. Pahala is like a gas station feeding magma to the other volcanoes all around the Big Island. That's what Pahala is. There are magma channels from Pahala to every one of these other volcanoes around the island. As you can see, there are other earthquakes just south of Kilauea here. This is a magma channel coming out of Pahala. A magma channel coming out of Pahala. These earthquakes are significant because these earthquakes are caused by magma coming from Pahala feeding to Kilauea. Feeding to Kilauea. This earthquake I just highlighted in blue, it's a 2.4 earthquake. This is 1.2 miles deep. It's a magma channel feeding Kilauea. It's 1.2 miles deep. Okay? Seismic energy going through these magma channels is fracturing rock at the volcanoes. It's fracturing rock en route to the volcanoes. Okay? That's a 2.4 earthquake. Right here is a 1.9, 2.0. This is a 2.0, and this one in red just happened. This is a 1.7 tremor. Up here, this is Kilauea volcano. Kilauea volcano has a crater here. The crater's name is Halemaumau crater. Halemaumau crater. This earthquake just outside the rim of this volcano, it's on the flank, the southern flank of Kilauea. This is a 1.8 tremor here. A 1.8 tremor. The magma is coming up to Kilauea here. Also over here, there's another volcano over here that you ought to know about. It's called Pu'u'o'o. Pu'u'o'o. In 2019, Pu'u'o'o and Kilauea had lava up inside the volcano. In the summer of 2019, the magma disappeared. Lava that had been in Kilauea and Pu'u'o'o drained out. Scientists wondered where it went. Well, scientists soon found out about it because fissures started opening up down here. Down here is, excuse me, I got something in my eye. Down here is fern forest. As you can see here, the fissures opened up here and lava drained down the hillsides and made its way all the way down here to the ocean, adding footage, adding acreage to the island of the Big Island, adding land acreage to the Big Island here. Now, with that said, let's go up here. Again, this is fern forest. We have a 1.5 tremor here, caused by magma down below there. Okay? Up here. Okay? There just happens to be a 2.6 earthquake here. This is still fern forest. See the white plumes here? This is an old photograph of the Big Island. These plumes were caused by lava fissures that had opened up here. A total of 24 fissures had opened up after Pu'u'o'o and Kilauea drained out. Some of these fissures are now named volcanoes. Some of these fissures here are now named volcanoes. But this earthquake here is very significant. It still proves to everybody that there's magma down here beneath the surface. And in many cases, if you go walking out in these lava fields, they're still warm. Some of these lava fields are still warm, and here it is 4 years ago since it erupted here. Some of these fissures have been named volcanoes. Why? Because they have developed cones and craters there. Cones and craters where they erupted. And the Hawaiian people have now named them volcanoes. Okay? But everywhere where you see steam here, all these plumes here, those are where fissures had opened up. And where magma was coming down and feeding into the sea here. And you can see it here. Down here at the ocean area here, you can see where lava came out here and filled the ocean, adding acreage to the Big Island. You can see a lava plume there. Okay? Hot lava coming out here in the ocean, mixing with water and air. Okay? What happens when there's hot lava mixing with water and the air? Does anybody remember? You get what they call lays. Lays. Okay? Lays is sulfuric acid, sulfuric gas, and you have CO2, carbon dioxide as well. And you have something else. When that lava cools very fast, it turns into glass. Lava turns into glass. Tiny thin shards of glass called Paley's hair. Paley's hair. When that happens, if it gets on your skin, it will burn your skin and slice it open. If it's hot enough, it could burn your skin. If it's not hot enough, it could still slice open your skin because these are shards of glass made by lava. If you breathe them in, it can cut up your sinuses, cut up your respiratory tubes, go into your lungs, or even worse, get into your lungs and cause all kinds of problems inside your lungs as well, cutting them up. People had to wear face coverings here on the Big Island when all this was happening. Okay, this is what happened. I want to make everybody very much aware of this. It could happen again. It could happen again. See these plumes all the way up here? Leilani Estates here, guys. This is Leilani Estates. All this gray area is where lava came out of the fissures and flowed out here to the ocean. That's what happened. Okay? That's what happened. Richard Smith is reporting another 3.2 small earthquake in central Turkey. Doesn't surprise me at all. Not at all. For those people that want to know where Hilo is the largest city here on the Big Island. This is Hilo, Hawaii right here. Okay? This is Hilo, Hawaii. One of our viewers lives, well, several of them live here in Hilo, Hawaii. Okay? I get messages, I get emails from them all the time. They've also sent me packages and cards. I appreciate that ever so much. Okay? That's Hilo, Hawaii. Okay? Now, let's continue this on. Okay? Let's go up here. We talked about those earthquakes in Japan. North of Hokkaido, in the Kuril Islands here. The islands north of Hokkaido are called the Kuril Islands. They belong to Russia. This is a 4.3 earthquake here. It's 56 miles east. Shikotan. Boy, I wish I could pronounce these words. Shikotan, Kuril Islands. A 4.3 earthquake here. Over here, further north, this is a 4.5 earthquake. This is 47 miles deep. This earthquake down here is 22 miles deep. Okay? Earthquakes deep here. Now, they're not deep, they're fairly shallow earthquakes. Folks, up here, earlier this past week, we had a 6.1 earthquake here. It has now since gone over into Alaska and has come down south. I'll talk more about that in a minute. This earthquake is a 5.0 earthquake, a large 5.0 earthquake, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. 10 kilometers deep, go figure. Okay? This seismic energy will travel the length of the Aleutian Island Fault here. This red line here and all the other earthquakes here are on the Aleutian Island Fault, except for this red one. Okay? Let's stop here in the Rat Islands for a quick second. This is a 2.5 earthquake here. Okay? This is 64 miles deep. A 2.5 minor earthquake. Actually, it's 54 miles deep. 54 miles deep. This earthquake here is in the Baltic Sea, north of the Aleutian Islands. This is a 4.3 earthquake here. A moderate 4.3 here. Occasionally we do get earthquakes here in the Baltic Sea, but not often. This again is a 4.3 earthquake. This is 4 miles deep. 4 miles deep. That's very interesting. Look where it's at. There's another fault zone here. That's why this earthquake happened. Okay? Going up into Alaska, you don't see an awful lot of activity here. Okay? Activity is down here at this volcano. Old Ililama volcano here. Old Ililama volcano. The earthquake I highlighted here is a 0.7 microquake. It's just south of Old Ililama volcano. You can see it here. South of there, this is another 2.0 earthquake here on the north side of the Aleutian Island Fault, or Aleutian Islands here. Okay, the peninsula, I'm sorry. North side of the peninsula, north end of the peninsula. Okay, But again, we have earthquakes down here at Old Ililama volcano. This one's a 1.8 tremor. Over here in the Cook Inlet here. This is the Cook Inlet. Earlier we talked about the Cook Strait down there in New Zealand. This is the Cook Inlet up here in Alaska. This is a 2.4 earthquake just off the coast of Kodiak Island. Kodiak Island, guys. This is a 43-mile deep quake. 43-mile deep quake. We go north here. Usually this area is full of earthquakes and tremors. It's not today. The only one we have is up here in the north side of the Cook Inlet. This is a 1.7 tremor, 22 miles northwest of Ninilchik, Alaska, out here in the Cook Inlet here. Okay, Mount Redoubt area is fairly clear here. Okay, Mount Redoubt is right in here. Okay, right here, all we have is a 1.4 tremor here, near Mount Redoubt. North of Mount Redoubt here is a 1.2 near Tynek, Alaska. We go further north, this is a 1.7 near Beluga, Alaska. Okay, pretty quiet here. Now, these are the earthquakes in the southern part of Alaska here. The southern part of Alaska. Now, I'm seeing here, yep, sure enough. Let me turn off this map here real quick because I want to show you some other things here on the USGS map here. I've got to reset it here. It just takes a second. You guys just bear with me for a second here. This happens almost every time. Not every time, but almost every time I use this stupid map. It didn't happen before about 6 months ago. But now it's happening almost every day that I use this map, unfortunately. Okay? Let's go back down here, and I want to show you what's going on here. Okay? Right here. This is Anchorage, Alaska. This is the city of Anchorage, Alaska right here. We leave this area and go north here. Okay? This is a 1.8 tremor. This is Big Lake, Alaska. We go north here. This is a 2.5. USGS does not even show the city that it's near. It just says, oh, it's southern Alaska. What a bunch of crap. Folks, I believe this is near our air base there in Alaska there. Okay? Now, it just left the top of my head. Boop, gone. But there's a big air base here. This is a 1.6 minor tremor here. 1.6 minor tremor. By the way, this is 20 miles deep. 20 miles deep. This earthquake here, 2.5, I just told you about, this is also 20 miles deep. Go figure. These earthquakes here are nothing to shout out. A 2.2 minor earthquake and also 1.5 tremor there. Okay? Nothing much going on here. Nothing real much going on. They're not even showing much of anything here up at Denali National Park. Denali National Park, guys. Mount McKinley's right here. Mount McKinley's right here. Okay? Up north here. This is a 2.0 earthquake. It's a 2.0 earthquake just north of Denali National Park. Okay? We go further north. This is a 1.4 near Healy, Alaska. And this earthquake that just happened here is a 2.0 earthquake here. This doesn't even, they're not even showing the depth on this quake. A 2.0 earthquake here, and going north here, this is a 1.3 here near Nenana, Alaska, there's a volcano here. Nenana, Alaska, there's a volcano right here. Okay? Up here, that's it. There really is nothing else further up here in northern Alaska except right here. Okay? This is Arctic Village. Arctic Village. This is the northernmost earthquake here in Alaska. Arctic Village. It's just south of Katavik, Alaska. Katavik, Alaska. And south of the North Shore where the oil pumping areas are here. Okay? Oil pumping areas here. Okay? This is also up at the Arctic Circle. That's why they call it Arctic Village. 2.0 earthquake up here. They have no depth on this, which is stupid. They know how deep these earthquakes are. Sorry, but they do. Over here in Washington, well, let's stop in Canada first. Canada. This is a 1.5 tremor here. This is Mission, Canada. Mission, Canada. 4.5 miles deep. Okay? We go down into Washington. This is at Mount Rainier. Good old Mount Rainier, guys. This is the summit of Mount Rainier. Here's a minus 0.1. The minus numbers are because they say it's above sea level. Yes, it is. However, wouldn't you know, this is 1.2 miles deep. 1.2 miles deep. It's a tremor 1.2 miles deep. There's a bunch of tremors here. This is not the only one. Over here in the foothills of Rainier, this is a 0.5 microquake here. There's a bunch of microquakes and tremors here at Mount Rainier. Don't let them fool you. Over here, they don't even offer a location for this either. This is a 1.0 tremor here in Washington, right between St. Helens and Mount Rainier. Going down here to St. Helens. Look at this, guys. Over here at the summit, you got two quakes here at the summit. This is a 0.1 microquake here. This other is a 0.8. Okay? Then down here on the south flank of Mount St. Helens, this is a 0.1 microquake here. This is 3 miles deep. 3 miles deep. This is 4 miles deep. This is 0.3 microquake, 4 miles deep. Now, if you want to believe them, this is 21 miles north-northeast of Amboy, Washington. They do not mention that it is at Mount St. Helens at all. Oh, this is near Amboy, Washington. No, it's not. This is at Mount St. Helens. These microquakes here, they show at the summit of the volcano. This is 4 miles deep here. This other one here is a quarter of a mile deep. That is magma just beneath this huge lava rock here that is the plug of the volcano. Just a quarter mile down beneath this plug. That means there's magma there. There is magma down beneath the plugs of each of these volcanoes. Plain and simple. They don't want us to know what's going on. They never will. They never will. Down here, this is at the Mendocino Ridge, Redway, California. Redway, California with a 1.2 tremor here. This is 5 miles deep. Okay? Go down here where we have a lot of earthquakes here. This is a geothermal site called the geysers. There's 80 boilers here. 80 boilers here. Why? Because man has drilled into the magma chambers of the Clear Lake volcano here. This lake is called the Clear Lake volcano. It might be a lake, but there's a volcano beneath it. They drilled into the upper magma chambers of this volcano to obtain steam to power turbines to generate electricity here. This is Sonoma, California. Sonoma, California. 80 different turbines here. 80 different turbines all throughout these hills here in Sonoma County. Okay? This is where all earthquakes happen. Every day they have anywhere between 20 and 30, sometimes 40 earthquakes here. Because man has drilled into the upper magma chambers of that volcano. Anywhere you have drill points, seismic energy finds it, and it shatters the rock of the drill points, causing earth movement. That's why we have these earthquakes here. Okay? Now I want to drop down to San Francisco. They've actually taken earthquake down. There's a 1.9 earthquake right here earlier today. This is a housing development. This is a housing development right next to the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault here, guys, goes right here. Right here. There we go. The San Andreas Fault flies right down the coast of California, right by the entrance to San Francisco Bay. This earthquake here happened in the housing area, right next to the San Andreas Fault. Now that's all fine and good, but during the weekend, we had a 4.1 earthquake down here at San Francisco Airport, right here. A 4.1 earthquake. I believe it was a lot stronger than that. Reports say upwards of a 5.0, but again, the USGS will not to admit to anything more than a 4.1. It damaged runways here. It damaged runways at the airport. Okay? Kimberly Hopkins says, what city, boss? This is San Francisco. This is San Francisco. The 4.1 allegedly happened here. I believe it was larger, and it actually damaged the runways here. Now, what you also need to know is this earthquake was built on a landfill. They built this earthquake off of a landfill. And the land is settling. The dirt and everything are settling. And the runways are sinking here. The runways are sinking. The earthquake here damaged these runways. Okay? They damaged the runways here. It doesn't surprise me any. Okay? When I've flown in and out of San Francisco, it was a very bumpy ride until we got off the runways. Okay? But that's what happens when you have an airport literally right next to the San Andreas Fault. Right next to the San Andreas Fault. And the San Andreas Fault, like I said, runs right on the west side of the entrance to San Francisco Bay. Any earthquakes that happen here are the result of the earthquakes here on the San Andreas Fault. Over here, just south of San Francisco, the San Francisco Airport, this is San Bruno, California. This is 0.6 microquake, 6.6 miles deep. However, we go on the east side of San Francisco Bay here. This is Orinda, California. This is a 1.3 tremor here. Guess what, folks? This is on the Hayward Fault. This is the Hayward Fault. One of the most dangerous faults in California. Now there's 3 dangerous faults here, as well as some other minor faults in this area as well. Okay? The Hayward here, and out here where we have this other quake here, this is the Calaveras Fault. This is Concord, California, the Calaveras Fault here. So we have 3 earthquakes on the 3 most dangerous faults in California. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Okay? It's literally insane. We go further south on the San Andreas here. This is Day Valley. A 0.7 microquake in Day Valley. Northeast of there, on the Hayward. This is Seven Trees, California. A 1.0 tremor. We go further south. Aromas, California. On the San Andreas Fault. A 1.6 tremor. Interesting. Out east here. Gustine, California. A 1.4 tremor here. Out in the lake. Out in the lake. Now I don't know for a fact. I don't know for a fact. There may be a volcano down here. There may be a volcano there, and I'm going to research it because I think it is. Okay? So 1.4 here in just Gustine, California. Further south. This is Tres Pinos. Tres Pinos also on the San Andreas. 2.5 years ago we had a 5.0 earthquake on a Friday, rush hour traffic at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Tres Pinos, California. The earthquake broke a fuel line at an oil refinery there in Tres Pinos, and there was a major fire there as a result of that quake. Tres Pinos, California with a 0.9, 1.0 tremor here. Further south, the Pinnacles. This is not just on the San Andreas Fault here, this is also oil and gas pumping operation here. A 1.6 tremor here. We can follow the San Andreas all the way down here. All the way down here. We have earthquakes down here south of there. However, we also have these bunch of earthquakes here. Piru, California. This is 1.3. Valencia, California, 1.6 here. This is a 1.4 also in Valencia. Look close, guys. Look close. We also have other fault lines here as well. We have other fault lines here as well. That's why these earthquakes hit here. Seismic energy finding those faults, causing rock fracturing. Rock fracturing. This is Moore Park, California, north of Los Angeles. We talk about Moore Park quite frequently. This is a 1.3 tremor here. Moore Park, California. Okay? We go further south. This is Rancho Cucamonga. Rancho Cucamonga. Out here in Orange County. Rancho Cucamonga, I've been there many times. 1.3 tremor out here. Right here is also the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault, go figure. Okay? Further south, Loma Linda. Loma Linda, home to the Loma Linda Medical Center. This is a 0.9 here and a 1.3 tremor here. Loma Linda Medical Center is right there. Right there, guys, Loma Linda Medical Center. We usually get nothing but tremors here, but we have had earthquakes here at Loma Linda and Mira Loma to the south. Okay? Just so you know. Another red earthquake here just happened. Yucaipa, California, a 1.0 tremor here. That is right on another fault here. But right across on the other side of San Andreas, this is a 1.0 in Big Bear. Big Bear, California, guys, a 1.0 tremor there. Further down here, further down south, this is Menifee, California. Menifee, California. This is down near Hemet. Down near Hemet. A 1.0 quarry blast. There's no quarry. Sorry, there's no quarry here. I've been to Menifee. There's no quarry. Look where this earthquake happened. There's a housing development right next to the Menifee Lake. This is a 1.0 tremor right next to a lake, a quarter mile deep. Okay? Not a quarry blast. Sorry, USGS, you screwed up again. You screwed up again. Further south, this is another 1.0 tremor. USGS is calling this a quarry blast as well. It's not. This is not a quarry blast. I used to live out here. This is near a town called Vista, California. Vista, California. See this highway here? This is Interstate 15. Interstate 15. On the east side of Interstate 15, this is Lawrence Welk Village. This is Lawrence Welk Village, a golf course and a mobile home park. Lawrence Welk himself used to live here. I met him out here. I met Lawrence Welk out here one night. I got an alarm call. I was the only police unit anywhere near here because I had to respond to an accident, and I was on my way back down the highway here, and I got to respond to Lawrence Welk's trailer here, where I met he and Mrs. Welk getting ready for bed, and they dropped their alarm remote and set off the alarm, and I got to respond and meet them that night. Okay, that's Lawrence Welk Mobile Home Park and golf course there. This is over here along there's a huge mountain here. I don't remember what it's called. Gopher Canyon Road. Gopher Canyon Road out here. This is not a quarry blast, guys. This is Vista, California. I happen to know there's also a volcano right there. There's not a quarry blast, it's a volcano right there. Probably magma coming up to that volcano. This is also a tenth of a mile deep. A tenth of the mile deep. Okay? Sorry, USGS, that's 2 strikes. Okay? Vista, California is right there. Vista, California is right there. Okay? Gopher Canyon Road leads up to this earthquake. And there's homes all over there. It's not a quarry. Not at all. Never has been, never will be. Again, this stupid, folks, and it's not the everyday Joe Blow person that works for USGS, it's the management. It's the management. They put these things out, they don't know what they're talking about. It's a 1.0 tremor out here in Vista, California. This earthquake here, Warner Springs, California, East San Diego County, 0.7 microquake. All these earthquakes up here are in the Anza Gap here. All these quakes here are in the Anza Gap. Anza Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. That is a 0.5 microquake. This is a 3.4 earthquake southwest of La Quinta, California. 3.4 small earthquake over here. Now what you also ought to know, okay, this is on the San Jacinto Fault. The San Jacinto Fault here. Okay? This is a 2.0 Borrego Springs, California. Again, the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. This earthquake here, this is just west of the Salton City area. Salton City is a, shall I say, an abandoned community. It's a ghost town now. There used to be a mobile home park in Salton City. There used to be a lot of things on, stores and everything else back in the day, back in the 1950s, early 60s. Now it's all abandoned out here. This is 0.7 microquake just west of Salton City, California, right next to Salton Sea. Okay? As you can see, they're not showing anything here, are they? That's because they're lying to us. There's plenty of earthquakes here. All kinds of earthquakes here. This is a 1.8 near Ocotillo, California. 1.8 tremor near Ocotillo, California. Anyway, those are the earthquakes there. Nothing really major to report here in the United States. There's more earthquakes down here in southwestern Texas here. Okay? 1.5 tremors and such down here in southwestern Texas. Toya, Texas. Okay? Going on down here. Like I said, I want to talk for a few minutes here about what happened here in the Caribbean. Okay? A 5.5 earthquake here at New Hope, Jamaica. New Hope, Jamaica. We have other earthquakes here as well, up here in southwestern Puerto Rico. This red earthquake just happened. This is Palomas, Puerto Rico, a 2.0 earthquake. This is a 2.3. This is a 2.3. This is a 3.0. 3.0 small quake. 2.0s are minor earthquakes. This is a 2.6 minor quake, and this is a 3.2 here. This is southwest of San Isabel, Puerto Rico. Okay? What's important to know about here? Back 4 years ago, December 26th will be 4 years. 4 years ago on December 26th, there was an 8.0 earthquake that hit here. 2 days later, on December 28th, there was an 8.4 earthquake. An 8.4 earthquake. What happened? For those of you that are new here, in case you were not here, let me briefly tell you what happened so you know. Make no mistake about it. These were man-made earthquakes. Those 8.0, 8.4 earthquakes were man-made earthquakes. Okay? An organization that originated up in Alaska. An organization that originated out of Alaska. This organization right here. Please do not put this in the chat. I'm asking you to just reason with me and let me tell you about this thing without you putting it in the chat. Do not use this because YouTube will kick me off the channel. This organization right here had an organization in Russia. They had another facility over in Norway, and they had a facility in northwestern Australia. They activated all three of those facilities. They triangulated Puerto Rico and sent all that high frequency and low frequency radiation bouncing off the ionosphere, triangulating Puerto Rico, causing 8.0 earthquake on the 26th of December that year, 2019, and an 8.4 2 days later on December 28th, causing all kinds of major damage. And as a result of those earthquakes, we're still getting aftershocks here in southwestern Puerto Rico. Those earthquakes caused major damage. They tore apart buildings. They tore apart homes. They tore apart the landscape. They tore apart the landscape. Over here, there's cities here. There's cities here. There was a major sandstone arch here, similar to the sandstone arches in Sandstone Arches National Park in Utah. Similar arches are over in Arches National Park in Utah. The one here near the beach was destroyed by the 8.4 earthquake. Destroyed. Because men had to mess around. Electricity was knocked out all over the island because of it. Sewers and plumbing systems were knocked out. Water was knocked out. People's lives were in danger. People's lives were taken away from them. Because of those 8.4 and 8.0 earthquakes that happened here. And we're still getting aftershocks from that. This brand new earthquake here is a 2.0 near Palomas, Puerto Rico. One of my friends, Dominic, lives down here. He's the captain of the Puerto Rican police force. Okay? This earthquake over here, out of north central or south central Puerto Rico, San Isabel, a 3.2 earthquake. Let me tell you about this, guys. Over here by the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, we have another 3.5 earthquake here. Let me give you some history of this area. Let me tell you why we keep getting earthquakes here. I think you need to know. Because these earthquakes are going to continue. I can promise you that. Okay? Again, some sources I had said that there was a 5.5 earthquake over in the Dominican Republic today. I can't prove that. I can't prove that. However, over here in Jamaica, near New Hope, Jamaica, there was a 5.5 here. Over 125 felt reports. Okay? What do we see here? You see a big red line running east and west here. You see this green area here. Let me tell you about this. That big red line represents the Cayman Ridge. The Cayman Ridge. It's a great big huge earthquake fault that starts over here in Guatemala and runs the entire way east all the way around U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and it also runs further south there, from there all the way on the eastern side of the Leeward Islands, and then once it gets to northern South America, it takes an extreme right turn and goes right into Venezuela, right into northern Venezuela, the Cayman Ridge. Anyway, let me tell you the history of this as we know it. I think you want to see this or want to know about it. Okay? I've got a report here that you're going to hear about. I've done a lot of research about this. There's a lot of information here if you go look for it. Now, just a second here. On September 24th, 2021. September 24th, 2021, over here in Haiti. Haiti is the country just to the west of the Dominican Republic. You can see the first three letters here, H-A-T. That's Haiti. On September 24th, 2021, there was a 5.5 magnitude earthquake that hit Haiti. The capital of Haiti was destroyed by that earthquake. It was a 5.5 earthquake. My dear friend Larry, who recently passed away, He worked that earthquake. He worked that earthquake. He worked a lot of earthquakes. He worked a lot of hurricanes. He helped a lot of people. But a 5.5 earthquake destroyed Haiti. The United States and other countries sent aid to Haiti. Today, we had a 5.5 earthquake hit the north central part of Jamaica to the west of Haiti there. The seismic source model is based, that I'm showing you here, is based on the most complete description of potential active faults and on their latest movements. This is essential, I should say an essential requirement, in finding out what is going on seismically in this area, or any area. The study that I'm going to describe to you characterize active faults in today's Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, southern Cuba, and even over in northern Puerto Rico. This framework of the problematic seismic hazard data assessed from Jamaica, southern Cuba, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. Now, I'm going to switch maps here. Right here. I'm going to enlarge this so you can understand it. I want you to be able to understand it because I think it's important. Okay? I want to tell you why that earthquake hit in Puerto Rico. You can see the Cayman Ridge here. There are also other faults here as well. These other faults are also integral into understanding what happened here. Okay? The Cayman Ridge leaves Guatemala. Then it takes a jog up towards the Cayman Islands. And just south of the Cayman Islands, it turns back into an east-west pathway for seismic energy. Okay? It continues on the southern side of Cuba, over northern Haiti and the Dominican Republic, north of Puerto Rico. It goes around the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and goes east of the Leeward Islands, Martinique and all the other Antigua and stuff, all the way down here. Then it turns and makes a complete westward turn and goes into Venezuela there. That is the Cayman Ridge. That is the main earthquake fault in that area. The other earthquake faults also play into this. Don't ever think they don't. They all play into this. Okay? I'm showing you a seismotectonic map of this whole area in the Caribbean and its surroundings here, based on a compilation of geological, geophysical, and geodetic and seismological data. Based on this data, distinct seismic zones are shown here and classified as either intercrustal domains, in other words, earthquake faults in the crust, major active fault lines, or subduction zones. Each seismic source is described according to several parameters. The current rate of deformation, in other words, the movement, the associated seismicity, the earthquakes, and its estimated maximum magnitude, and the surrounding seismic influences, in other words, the other seismic zones around the area. And they play into this. These results constitute an essential database for homogeneous evaluation of the seismic hazards of this area. I want you to understand why that earthquake hit in Jamaica. The seismic energy came out of Central America. Regardless of what USGS would have us believe, there are a lot of earthquakes coming through Central America. And some of that energy comes off of the Cocos Plate and moves over to the Cayman Ridge at Guatemala. And then it moves east. Okay? The island of Hispaniola, that is Haiti and the Dominican Republic. The island of Hispaniola includes Haiti and the Dominican Republic and is located on the northeastern limit of the North American and Caribbean plates. The North American and Caribbean plates, and you can see the North American plate there on the upper right hand side there. The North American plate. Remember we told you that the Atlantic fault line, the mid-Atlantic fault, is spreading. It's widening out, causing the North American plate to move in a south-southwesterly direction. Okay? This area here is located on the northeastern limit of the North American plate and the Caribbean plates. It is a strongly active seismic region, as we've been talking about earthquakes here for a very long time. And it goes down here into the Greater Antilles Arc. You can see that here on the area where it says Puerto Rican Trench. Okay, the Cayman Trench there, and it goes south. Okay, the Greater Antilles Arc on the Caribbean plate. The 2010 7.0 earthquake that hit Port-au-Prince, Haiti, devastated Port-au-Prince, is part of a long list of destructive earthquakes that have struck Hispaniola during the last centuries. Not to be outdone by the 2019 8.0 and 8.4 earthquakes that struck southwestern Puerto Rico. That was different. Those were man-made earthquakes. Also, a 5.5 that struck the area in 2019. These earthquakes were a dramatic wake-up call that has brought attention to the long underestimated hazard to Hispaniola Island, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico, and the entire Greater Antilles Arc. Since then, the governments of the two countries composing Hispaniola, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic have been making efforts to evaluate seismic hazards so that appropriate mitigation plans can be put into place. Appropriate emergency preparedness plans can be put in place. The present work has been conducted in the framework of a project to assess the seismic hazard and the vulnerability of the entire area. The islands of Puerto Rico and Jamaica, Hispaniola, belong to the Greater Antilles Arc, located at the junction of the North American and the Caribbean plates, as you see it here. Cuba geographically also belongs to the Greater Antilles and originates from the Caribbean lithosphere. GPS data and geological reconstruction indicate that the Caribbean plate is in a relative motion of 18 to 20 millimeters per year, or 0.787402 inches per year. 3/4 of an inch per year movement. 3/4 of an inch per year. 18 to 20 millimeters per year along a mean direction of 70 degrees north towards the North American plate. The movement is towards the North American plate. Believe it or not, the North American plate is subducting underneath the Caribbean plate here. The North American plate is subducting under the Caribbean plate here. The Caribbean plate northern limit with the North American plate globally oriented east and west at a level of the island of Hispaniola, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. The oblique collision of the two plates induces partitioned deformations. Okay? The North American plate going underneath the Caribbean plate causes mountain building, doesn't it? It causes mountain building there of those volcanoes that raised that land up off the ocean floor here. Okay? Causes mountain building, deformation. Okay? With the development of tectonic structures, mountains, with the main thrust or strike-slip movement. Okay? Just for a minute, let me take this thing down and explain strike-slip movement. Strike-slip movement is a plate going like this. Strike-slip, just like this. That's what's going on here. Okay? I want to make sure you guys all understand what's happening here. This was a significant quake. My own son-in-law went through this area the other day, just a week ago. Okay? The different structural blocks are characterized by distinct geodynamic evolutions and separated by large shear scale shear zones. Shear zones. Okay? Let me talk to you about that as well. I think you deserve to know what shear zones are. Okay? Shear zones are just like wind shear. Wind shear. Shear zones are where everything literally drops out. We have major seismic energy dropping out. Shear zones. Okay? That's the best way to describe it. Shear zones, guys. Now, the North Hispaniola Fault that you see here, the North Hispaniola Fault that runs along the north side of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, that marks the north zone of subduction of the North American plate underneath the Caribbean plate. Okay? That's where the North American plate is going underneath, subducting under the Caribbean plate. The thrust faults of the Cordillera Central and the Muertos Fault accommodate a part of the comprehensive deformation in the Caribbean lithosphere. Okay? You can see the Muertos Fault here. You can see all this here. That's why I wanted to make sure you had this information. That is why we had that earthquake over here in Jamaica today. And yes, we had a lot of other earthquakes there in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and other earthquakes all over the Caribbean Ocean today. Okay? It all happened. It all happened. Do you guys have any questions about this? I want to make sure you understood it. I think there's a lot of information here, and I think it's all important. Demon Catman says tremors lead to earthquakes, so stay aware and stay safe. I agree. You need to be aware of what's going on. Jamie Wilkie says, I hear rumbles under the ground over here in Seattle, Washington. I agree. There are rumbles under the ground. You guys can hear it. I totally understand that. Scooter Pie has told me that. Many other of you that live there have told me that. Okay? You can hear them. Okay? Jamie says they've been feeling tremors for a few days now. Oh, I'm sure of that. There's been a ton of them. They're just not talking about it. Awaken says, I wonder when everything decides to move all at once, we're going to have a safe place on Earth. You know, when crap hits the fan, and that's how I look at it. When the worst thing happens, it's going to happen at such a rate that we all are going to be taken by surprise. It's going to happen so fast and so furious that nobody's going to have a chance to do anything but react. That's why we keep telling everybody to prepare. You're not going to have time to react when it happens. Okay? If you guys are interested, then I encourage you to do it. You can support my program here. We have 2 PayPal locations. 2 PayPal locations. Kimberly Hopkins has shown it. One PayPal location has an address of Hotmail. It's not at Hotmail, it's PayPal. Okay? The other one has a Gmail address. Okay? Both of them are PayPal locations where you can support our program. I highly encourage you to do it. We need the support to keep this program on the air. Prices keep going skyrocketing out of sight. I need your help. We also have a Venmo location that Kimberly also put up. At Ronald Tyler-17 at Venmo. Okay? You can do that. Also, we keep putting our information up here on our banner. You have our address here, our P.O. Box, P.O. Box 422, Valdese, V-A-L-D-E-S-C, North Carolina. Zip code is 28690. We appreciate the cards and letters. We appreciate you putting support in the cards and letters and sending them to us. I got one card just recently, and it's the first card in quite some time. Prior to that, about 3 weeks ago, I got one from Rob. Rob and his wife are out on a date tonight, celebrating. They get to go out on a date tonight. That's wonderful. I told them congratulations and have a good time. Anyway, guys, things are going to get bad. Diane Myers is asking, would the drop-off thing have a tsunami? If the plate drops. And I'm saying if the plate goes like this, there could be a tsunami. However, it would have to be a major drop that would cause something like a 6.5 to 7.0 earthquake here. That's when you would have a tsunami here. We haven't had a tsunami here in this area here in the Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico for a very, very long time. That's like right now, I don't think it's likely to happen. Okay? But it could. Yes, it could. That was a good question, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate that greatly. Now, folks, I have some things about the Maine massacre that I want to talk to you about. There have been some other shootings here in the United States I want to go over with you. They're not going to stop. I just don't think they're going to stop, and I have a reason to believe why. They don't want to stop. They don't want to stop. And because of the Communist Party here in America, Antifa and BLM have decided they wanted to defund the police. And as a result, police departments don't have the manpower sufficient to do their jobs. They just don't. This weekend before Halloween, Saturday and Sunday, Friday night into Sunday, saw a spate of deadly mass shootings in many U.S. cities that left at least 11 people dead and 76 others injured. Between Friday and Sunday, 12 mass shootings took place. As of Sunday evening, 12 mass shootings took place. A mass shooting is defined when at least 4 people are injured or killed, excluding the shooter. Many of the shootings took place at large gatherings in the early hours of Sunday. Here's what we know from the investigations into the shootings in Texas, Indiana, Florida, Illinois, Georgia, Kansas, Maryland, New Mexico, Louisiana, and Ohio. In Texarkana, Texas, 3 people were killed and 3 others injured in a shooting at a party in the back room of a business a little after 9 p.m. on Saturday evening. Police are searching for a 20-year-old Brioski Warren, Breoskii Warren, whom they've identified as a suspect in those shootings in Texas. Apparently, this all started when a fistfight broke out between 2 men at the party. At some point during this fight, at least 2 men there pulled out rifles and started shooting. That information was also posted to social media Sunday morning. The victims range from 19 to 31 years old. 1 man died at the scene, and a woman and another man died overnight in a hospital. The 3 other victims, 2 men and a woman, were at the hospital recovering from what they believed to be non-life-threatening injuries. Indianapolis, Indiana. In northwest Indianapolis, 10 people between 16 and 22 years old were injured, one of them fatally, at what police said was a shooting at a large party. Around midnight on Sunday, police officers responded to reports of a large gathering at the 5100 block of East 65th Street in Indianapolis. Officers said when they arrived, they heard gunshots and saw a large crowd dispersing from the area. Multiple firearms were found at the scene. The 9 surviving victims are in stable condition. No arrests have been made, but several people were detained. Now, I can't go into a lot of depth here. Yes, I have some information, but I can't give you everything that I know. No arrests have been made. Several people have been detained. There is no known active threat right now to the public in Indianapolis. Tampa Bay, Florida. 2 people died, a 14-year-old and a 20-year-old, and 16 others were injured in a shooting around 3 a.m. on Sunday at the Ybor City neighborhood of downtown Tampa. The shooting was the result of an isolated dispute between 2 people that escalated into violence. Tampa Police Chief Burkaw informed people at the news conference. 15 of the injured victims were shot. The other victim was seriously injured, but police did not give further details. 5 of the surviving victims remain in the hospital, but their injuries are not life-threatening. 1 suspect has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder with a firearm. 2 handguns were recovered at the scene from 2 different people by the police. One of them was identified as a stolen weapon. The other was not. In Chicago, we know for a fact, and I know for a fact myself because I know officers that work for Chicago PD. It's one of the worst places for shootings anywhere in the United States. This weekend, police said at least 15 people were injured, 2 of them critically, in a shooting in the North Lawndale neighborhood in Chicago's West Side, early Sunday morning. Chicago police responded to a scene when they saw a man open fire at the site of a gathering just after 1 a.m. The suspect was armed with a handgun. He was taken into custody a short distance away after initially fleeing on foot. 6 women and 9 men were shot. all ranging in age from 26 to 53. Attendees told a TV news station, ABC7 in Chicago, they'd been there to celebrate Halloween. In Atlanta, a large crowd was gathered near the Georgia State University campus around 5 a.m. when the gunfire began on Sunday morning. Sunday morning, police said 4 people, 3 females and 1 male, were shot. 3 of the victims transported themselves to the hospital with non-life-threatening wounds before the police arrived. The other gunshot victim was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Police have not said whether a suspect has been taken into custody or not. Now, the shooting in Maine. We gave you information last week. It started Wednesday evening. The suspect was found dead in a cargo trailer in an industrial area. The motive for the shooting is still a mystery. The man, Robert Card, C-A-R-D, was found dead. He was a U.S. Army reservist who sprayed a bowling alley and a bar with gunfire on Wednesday evening in Lewiston, Maine. He killed 18 people. He took his life inside a cargo trailer parked on a lot in a recycling plant where he once worked. Robert Card was 40 years old. He was found dead Friday evening from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The announcement came after a 48-hour search for the suspect, and it is the most lethal act of firearms violence in the state's history. The finding of the man brought a sense of relief to the citizens of Lewiston and other southern Maine cities and communities that were plunged into a virtual lockdown as a result of the manhunt for Robert Card. At a news briefing on Saturday, Maine Public Safety Commissioner Mike Sauschuk revealed that a state police tactical team discovered Card's corpse in an unlocked shipping container parked on one of dozens of tractor-trailer rigs standing in an overflow lot at the recycling plant. Police had combed the plant twice, as Card was believed to have worked there in the past. Sauschuk said researchers initially overlooked the extra parking lot. It was occupied by the 50 to 60 cargo trailers, some of them full of crushed plastic or metal, but the other one, whose Card's body was inside, dressed in what appeared to be the same brown sweatshirt that a surveillance camera caught him wearing the night of the attack. Investigators will not say how long they believe Card had been dead, or any other details. The recycling facility is less than a mile from where police found Robert Card's car abandoned shortly after the shooting spree began. A total of 18 people were killed, 13 wounded in last Wednesday night's carnage, when the gunman opened fire with a rifle inside the just-in-time recreational bowling alley. He launched another attack moments later at Chiminski's Bar and Grill, a few miles away. Folks, we don't know when things will happen. The attacks in England are mostly knife attacks. Yes, occasionally there will be a firearm involved in England. Not that very often, but it does happen. Firearms and weapons events happen all the time, all over the world. All we can do is pray that at some point this carnage will end. At some point this carnage will end. All of it is not necessary. If people would just talk, and talk rationally, and listen, and work together, all this carnage would stop. I know that. I know that. I felt a need to speak about it today. It's horrible. It's horrible. It happens in every American city around the country. It happens in Canada. It happens all over the world. Brothers and sisters, we are in a dangerous time in our lives. We are in a dangerous time of our lives. Things happen that we, heaven forbid, want to happen. We don't. But things happen. We need to do one thing. Let me put that up right here. For those of us striving to be peaceful followers of Christ, a brighter day awaits us as we focus on our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That is how this carnage can end. That is exactly how this carnage can end. It does not have to be here as it is. Let's focus on our Lord and Savior. The Lord and Savior can bring us peace in our time. He can bring us hope. Because of His atonement, He can bring us life eternal, that we can live with our Heavenly Father. I bear you my testimony that we can do that. I know we can, if we will but focus on the Prince of Peace. Folks, this next month, we're going into what I call a triad of holidays. A triad of holidays. Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Yes, New Year's has nothing to do with the Savior. But Thanksgiving and Christmas do. New Year's is the end of the Christmas and the spiritual holidays. But I think of it as part of it. Because we're celebrating. We're celebrating the new year. We're celebrating making new goals and activities for the coming year. We can be better people. We can be better servants in the Lord's kingdom if we but do one thing. That is for us to strive to be peaceful followers of Christ. To focus our attention on the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Let us start this. Let us start this new season, at least with happiness and forgiveness in our hearts, and focus on our end goal of worshiping the Savior, even Jesus Christ. That is my testimony for you. I know He lives, that He can provide this for us if we will but let Him. Folks, I appreciate having been here with you tonight. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. Send me a message, send me an email. Send me a card or letter, and let me know how you're doing. Let me know how I can better serve you. That's all I want. That's all I want. I ask the Lord to bless you now. I know He will. May God be with you this day and always. May the Lord bless us to have His Spirit to be with us always, always, and forever. I leave you my testimony. I know He lives. We'll be back here tomorrow. Same time, same bat station, hopefully closer to 6 p.m. I was pretty late tonight, and I'm sorry about that. Have a good night, folks. If anything else happens tonight, We will be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, as Walter Cronkite once said, that's the way it is. Monday, October 30th, 2023. For Emergency Management Associates, my name is Ron Tyler. Have a good evening, folks. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody.